Broadcasting live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. Brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrow. I am Anthony Mormino on the Ides of August on what can only be described as an incredible morning. And yesterday, Seth, that heat was foreshadowing, that humidity was foreshadowing the day.
There was a very, I was going to say shower. It was not a shower. There was a downpour here on mid-card or so that took the remainder of the card off the turf and cut the field size on. And I was surprised at, given the situation, and it just may have juggled people up or whatnot. But the dollar pick six yesterday paid over $3,800, almost $3,900. And you had $12, $6, $4, 14. That might have helped a little bit, but 7 and 4. So it wasn't crazy. And again, there were some short fields there. So I was a little bit surprised at the pick five for 50 cents paid $3.41. That was a little more sensible. I will also note yesterday, this was a crazy quirk, and sometimes it happens this way. It's funny maybe in horse racing how often you get these kind of coincidences. But yesterday was Military Appreciation Day, and during the afternoon they had military members or veterans in the winner's circle for ceremonies, and they had tributes to some deceased veterans over the years and whatnot. But on Military Appreciation Day in race number 5, still a soldier gets it done at $12. So
how do you pay $12?
I don't know. That's a great question with all the military folks who were on site.
And hunch bettors.
Jeez. Yeah, it was crazy.
I think Saratoga on a given day has more hunch
probably
players than Aqueduct on February 19th.
Yeah, I think you're probably absolutely right. So yeah, that was kind of a fun addition to the day yesterday. But yeah, the weather obviously affected things. And Dino, didn't you say that you saw on the turf today? Yeah. So, and again, it was actually a fairly brief in the grand scheme of things shower, but it was very heavy. And then since it's been nice, and as you say this morning, once again, it's not only sunny. There's a little breeze, and that helps things as well. So
humidity is probably about 11%.
Yeah, very nice.
This is Del Mar without the Pacific Ocean, and I've said it many times before. Let's run the races now. I mean, this is beautiful. First person I saw this morning, he didn't see me, but on the cart going away, Eddie F.
Dino saw him over at the food stand.
And for $6 million, you can own a piece of property across the street.
Yeah, wow.
I heard the Horseshoe Inn is on for $6 million.
Yeah, Dino said he saw it someplace. I did not see that, but wow. God bless.
What's the old line in real estate? Location. I guess that's pretty good. Now, if you really want to be the old man, get off the lawn, Seth, today would be Jim Dandy Day. When the Jim Dandy first started, it was on Alabama Eve. Nice little, 8 days, get you to the Travers. Now today we have a little different scenario. The apparently we're not improving the breed.
Well, I talked to Dave Donk yesterday, who overlapped a period with Woody Stevens. He was working with Woody Stevens, and part of that overlap was a few of his 5 straight Belmont Stakes winners, which included Conquistador Cielo, who on Monday won the Met Mile, and on Saturday won the Belmont Stakes. And we won't see the likes of that again.
Well, a little bit different. Didn't Christophe Clement have Sheepshead Bay win on Monday and win on Saturday?
Well, when was that, though?
Like 2000 and Denise and I were a couple because we went to Belmont Park that day. So I'd say Anthony wasn't born, so I would say 02 to 04.
But we're still talking 20 years ago. But also, was it I mean, two prominent grade ones. And as far as distance, in the world of horse racing, not even close.
No.
You're talking a mile to a mile and a half.
But that race was over at the mile mark. The rest was just a procession in the slot. See, Conquistador Cielos was two different racing surfaces, conditions, I should say, and the same thing for. I think it's Christophe Clement. One was one in a bog on the turf, and the other was one on a firm turf. She showed her versatility, but. So David Donk, was he part owner of the winner? And was that?
He was. It was this when we were talking about yesterday. He was listed in the. But more importantly,
and was it the Incurable Optimist people?
I didn't get into the Incurable.
Okay.
I forgot all about it. I had it written down, but I didn't get into that. But also part owner, and it was in the winner's trophy yesterday. Was his dad. Which was kind of fun.
And I think I looked it up. It was Eddie Maple's last Grade 1 victory when he won the Arlington Million, which cough cough. 30 years ago. It's just mind-boggling how time flies. But, so Jim Dandy used to be run today. So I think that would have shown like the complement between the test and the Alabama, although the test was always a sprint. But the Jim Dandy, go 9 furlongs, will wheel you right back in 9 days. Now, I don't know if anybody completed that double. But I do know that the Jim Dandy used to be today.
Jim Dandy and the Travert, I would think there would have to be some.
Well, when it was the 8 days apart.
Oh.
Yeah, no. We've had, you know what happened when they changed the spacing? Todd Pletcher was like 0 for 3. But when they changed the spacing, I'm going to guess I know exactly the year. It was Flower Alley. So the first time he had the spacing, he got it done. But he had been 0 for a couple. And he'd had a couple good Jim Dandy winners, but then when they moved it to, was it 4 weeks? 27, 28 days. Because they used to run the Jim Dandy on Sunday. So it would be 27,
for a while,
but then had the long run of Saturday. So, but a beautiful day. If you have.
And I talked, not to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I totally kind of changed the subject if you're going to.
I'm good like that. I do it to you, so you can do it once a year to me.
Right. Did I mention it with Dave Donk or something? Or no, I had mentioned it with Mike Welch. We were talking about New England racing. And there was a while here, it was probably when I first got in the game, where you didn't have Sundays up here. But Green Mountain raced, and Green Mountain, I guess, was huge with people. Did you ever watch thoroughbred racing in Green Mountain?
Yes.
Okay. Very good.
Now, there's a thing. Seth is talking about somewhere between 71 and 76, somewhere in there, because they went to harness racing. I've said this
and
before.
And then went to dog racing.
If you go on Google Earth, you can see the old thoroughbred layout, the old harness layout, and you can see the dog track. But in my neighborhood that I grew up, as you went down the road 150 yards was Route 7, and there was not really a technical billboard, but a smallish one made of wood that advertised. It was up all year. Green Mountain Racing. They must have owned it or something. But we did not have Sunday racing here until the Carter administration. I mean, that was just the way it was, and I think it had to do with labor and cost and things like that.
But they took advantage at Green Mountain. They said,
hey, here's
come on over.
And you know who the other people that took advantage of, don't you? It wasn't their nature, it was their schedule. But Great Barrington ran after this closed. So you had the people, still with the, little bit of push. That's just, how things change. But, that for a whole region that had history of horse racing, there's not much history in certain parts of this country for thoroughbred, but that is not the case for New England.
Yeah.
And for it to be gone, and I said this before, last spring, I did the famous Laurel, Charlestown, Kingling trifecta. Well, a couple of years, 33 years ago, I did the old Breeders' Cup Suffolk Downs. And I think Larry Comas was calling races as Suffolk Downs. 1992, I had a layover in Boston. I got a cab with my best friend. We went out to East Boston to see a couple races. My favorite thing about Suffolk Downs, though, was the train that ran behind the track. The T. It was great. But for New England, and this is a man that spent a lot of time in Maine, but to have no thoroughbred action, I think Rockingham is a shopping plaza
and
or
Mike
something.
Mentioned Rockingham, said he, when he started writing for the Racing Form, he was covering a lot of
Was
Suffolk, Rockingham,
Okay.
the fairs.
Well, I
made one trip to Rockingham, gorgeous track, right? And I made
Yeah.
one trip to Suffolk, just I think the summer before it closed, but it was everybody knew it was coming.
Yeah, like Arlington from
And I was amazed. I was thinking, oh, this is going to be kind of a, but you walked in, it was a gorgeous
It was
facility,
nice.
and again, knowing it was coming, and they had a great crowd there as well. And I'll talk about another piece of history that I never got it, but I think probably early on, because it was fairly early when I was a fan when New York went to winter racing. But for a while, New York didn't have winter racing, and I think it was Bowie down in Merrow.
Yes.
And they said the train would be packed. They go down. Train packed on the way down, and then they'd watch the races and then head back up to
and
New
people
York
upstairs
City.
don't realize, New York to Baltimore is kind of like our equivalent of going down to the city. It's not like that, but no, Bowie. I told you, it was rough racing, but it was racing. But I told you, the neighborhood is like, I'm sure the property taxes are steep. It is a gorgeous neighborhood. Now, it's not funny, but Rockingham was one of those wooden tracks that burnt down. When I first really day in and day out started getting into horse racing, this is like 1980 when I got a job and money, and it was closed for about 4 years before they reopened. But that was in the group of, I can still remember getting the newspaper when Garden State burnt down. Then more people remember Arlington. Fairground. I mean, the wooden racetracks. This is the last one. But when I was a junior, and Rockingham still had good racing. The New England Sweepstakes was a big race.
Yeah.
And I said to somebody on Twitter once that its last day in the sun was in the American Championship Racing Series, whatever that was in 91, 92. They had the New England Classic. And I think Feston, it was $500,000 race. It was, but yeah, the whole New England thing. Now, did Mike grow up in the Northeast?
I'm assuming.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he got that assignment around home. But for the history that New England has in racing, it's all gone. All the fairs are gone, right? We talked about that. There's no fair circuit, and obviously.
Then we were talking also. Mike was talking about. I mentioned because he had the winner. I pulled up the replay of his winner across the street. He has a harness horse over there and won on Saturday night. So we were talking about harness racing a little bit, and he talked about Foxborough. I think he said when he was in college, he and his friends, it was like you go through the tunnel, 10 minutes we were at Fox. So there was a lot of time spent at Foxborough, I guess.
Okay.
And I asked, he'd never been to Scarborough Downs. I spent a lot of time up there. I drove through the sign is still on the highway for Scarborough, big sign still on the highway. So when I was up there earlier this summer, I drove through and I could barely see it in the distance. The tote board is still there, but it has become essentially a city within a city. Condos and houses. And I pulled over to the side and there was a guy with a baby carriage. I said, you live here, right? Assuming. And he said, yeah. I said, I'm just a horse racing fan. Is anything left of the track? And he said, well, the tote board's kind of left, but that's probably going to go because they're going to put a supermarket in there and an offshoot of a local hospital. And like I say, it's become kind of a city within a city. And there aren't many remnants of the track. And I'm wondering how long the sign stays. I was amazed that having driven in that the sign is still there, but maybe they'll hold on to it for posterity.
I was just thinking, isn't there the Simon and Garfunkel Scarborough Fair? Is it that one?
No? I don't know what that refers to, but it's
okay.
No.
All right.
No, Scarborough was it wasn't a fair track. It was they ran all summer.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
It used to be fun. Scarborough, you go to the beach in the afternoon, head over to the
Speaking of which,
at night.
today is Seth mentioned the last sunset after 8:00 the other day. Well, today is the day that Del Mar moves their post time on Friday up because of the daylight. Now, here's the thing. So they're going to go at 3:00 local time. They'll be finished before the sunset Hello, Naira. Can we go with 3 and be done before the sunset?
Speaking of, after the weekend, the Kings play up at Woodbine. We'll talk a little Kings play. I'll get to that in a second. But I think starting next week, I read Thursday and Friday, they kick their post times a little bit later because, of course, they have lights up there. So a little bit later, both Thursdays and Fridays, because they're working on the turf course. What is it? 5:30 and 4:30. So it's a little bit later.
So
on Thursday and
north
Friday.
of here, where it gets colder, they have late afternoon racing. I tell you, I maybe there are far more moving parts Seth, than I think of, and I'm blind to this because it's been an idea that I've lusted for 30 plus years. I don't get how it isn't a smashing success at the best race meet in the world. I think it would, and you make the good second or third point to me. Maybe it's actually the first point, which is the demographics are very appetizing, and
we see that it's demonstrated. And we talked about it the other day as well. And what we're talking, there was a period where Fridays we did a Twilight. You know, it's 2 or 3 days of the meet, but I'd be perfectly happy trying that again. And so, as I say, we talked a little bit about it. And then they shifted. They were getting some pushback from downtown because of, you know, they want a couple or 3 seatings for dinner, and that was hurting that. I get that. But now things have changed where I think you get away with it.
They gave them 4 extra weekends.
Yeah. and
they did their part.
And it's demonstrated. First, it was demonstrated up here when they did it, but now it's demonstrated fairly regularly. If you look at Churchill Downs, and you know, they'll plug in once a week a Twilight card, and they get a much younger crowd, and just clearly, you know, a chance to develop new fans. I'd love to see them do a couple of Fridays up here early in the meet.
This was a long time ago. You might not remember, but obviously, not that it's my anniversary, but June 21st has been my favorite day of the year since I was a boy. It's the longest, give or take a day. It's the longest time. You remember when Belmont used to have Twilight racing?
Vaguely, now that you mention it.
Because they would run around the June 21st time, so they had maximum light.
Yeah.
But they had it for a while, and then it just disappeared. I mean, but want to get to the business first, or the play of the day first?
No, I have the business, but I'll also give you a little update on what's coming up. Top of the hour racing across America. Kim Weir will join us. Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga. They have a nice event coming up. Again, like the jockey basketball, will be right around the corner at the Saratoga Rec Center.
What are the odds the Swedish Fish come?
Well, let's see.
I make it even money. She is a good egg,
but it's going to be pickle for the ponies, pickleball. They did it at another venue last year. It was fun. Dale Roman's a good pickleball player.
Do you play?
Ramon, I do not. But
okay.
People keep saying, and I've kind of been convinced. My question was how much of a workout it is, but everybody says it's okay. So I may have to jump in. But Ramon, good player, and they're jockeys and horsemen and whatnot show up. So again, we'll promo that a little bit to benefit Therapeutic Horses. Then I had a couple of videotapes that I shot. Well, I was going to say a week and a half ago, but from tomorrow, it's 2 weeks ago, Whitney Day. Chad Brown in the winner's circle after the Whitney talking about Sierra Leone. It's kind of funny. He talks about his family being there and how much a Whitney means to him, talks a little bit about Sierra Leone. And I have had it in the can, just haven't had a chance to use it. So I thought, let me use it before it really gets too old. Same thing with Javier Castellano, who the next day kind of broke a long skid with the win on Bring the Band Home. And he was very humble and talked about, you play the game and never had a lull like that. And I'll get into since then, he's done all right. And then Keith McCalmont will join us as well. Works in the press office at NYRA and has for a while now. But for a while, he was our man up at Woodbine when we made our trips up there. And so I'm going to have Keith in today to talk a little King's Plate and more coming up tomorrow at Woodbine. Also, coming up today at Capital OTB. It's a win-a-bet contest at the Clubhouse Racebook. Stop by, say hello, and enjoy a little extra something this afternoon. Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Same spot tomorrow, the King of the Hill contest. Again, a little extra something to be had perhaps tomorrow at the Clubhouse Racebook. Also, the Bonnie Bet returns tomorrow, well over $1,100. So you get your shot at pulling that down. If you're the lone person to hit the pick 5 tomorrow, late pick 5 at Saratoga, playing with your Capital OTB bet account, you're just going against that universe of people playing with Capital OTB bet. So take your shot tomorrow, late pick 5 at Saratoga. Tomorrow also a fan appreciation day at the Gallup Inn. Fan appreciation day is always a lot of fun. You can enjoy some food, some free stuff, contests. Again, gives us our chance to say thank you to you. That's the Gallup Inn tomorrow, Fan Appreciation Day. And again, Sunday, as you saw, the Knockout Challenge down at the Clubhouse Racebook on Sunday with a full slate of kind of promos and events at Capital OTB throughout the Saratoga season.
All right. The Brooklyn Cowboy with the DePaula Play of the Day.
And they're off. Chevrolet, Mazda, and Ford right now at the DePaula Auto Group. Take off the savings you need on the vehicle that you want. New cars, trucks, SUVs, hybrids, and all electric. Delivered with DePaula savings. And the DePaula Auto Group has hundreds of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Remember, DePaula can service any make and model and has over 100 service bays. So buy DePaula. Think DePaula for all of your automotive needs. DePaula Auto Group. Chevrolet, Mazda, Ford, and pre-owned. DePaula.com.
Hello, everybody. Kevin Cox, the Brooklyn Cowboy here with the Capital OTB DePaula Play of the Day from beautiful Saratoga Race Course. We've been giving you our plays of the days on Fridays and Saturdays throughout the meet, and we're basing our success on a 50 to win, 30 to place, 20 to show wager for the bankroll team. And after showing a flat bet profit in the first 3 years in doing this, we're shooting for the Grand Slam this summer. Our play of the day today is in the day's opener, race 1, the number 3, Tim and Sam. This New York bred went for 20 times the stud fee across the street a year ago, and after smacking into the starting apparatus at the onset, fought the good fight, investing half the field at 25 to 1. We've always had a fondness for failing sprinters stretching out for the first time, especially on the turf, as sometimes they get a bit more brave if able to relax a bit, while also being more forwardly placed. The sire was a Grade 1 turf winner with 2 wins and a showing on the stuff, and the maternal grandam was 1 for 3 on firm ground as well, which bodes nicely for this one's chances. So once again, our Capital OTB DePaula Play of the Day from Saratoga is in race 1, the number 3, Tim and Sam, and we're hoping for a good price with this one. Have a wonderful day at the races, and we'll see you out there.
And they're off. Chevrolet, Mazda, and Ford right now at the DePaula Auto Group. Take off the savings you need on the vehicle that you want. New cars, trucks, SUVs, hybrids, and all electric. Delivered with DePaula savings. And the DePaula Auto Group has hundreds of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Remember, DePaula can service any make and model and has over 100 service bays. So buy DePaula. Think DePaula for all of your automotive needs. DePaula Auto Group. Chevrolet, Mazda, Ford, and pre-owned. DePaula.com.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Always we say, in this hour that we do it, wait for the official announcement. But it's definitely the type of day, and, we were dry for so long, and the type of rain we had that, I think it's going to be firm, to be honest with you. They give it a go and fast. That's how I'm playing it. I mean, I would think the track maintenance crew, except for, I guess, maybe 15-mile-an-hour winds, couldn't ask for anything better. To get a track and to get a turf course in shape. So that's what I'm playing with. In the opener, we have State Bred Juveniles, mile 16th on the Mellon turf course.
4, 3, 6, and 5. And Kevin has Tim and Sam has his play of the DePaula Play of the Day. I have Stick Up Without a Gun as my dark horse play of the day. And I will say, I was kind of tepid, but the more I looked into it, the happier I am with this. Dark Horse Play of the Day brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions of Saratoga, both right on Broadway in downtown Saratoga. So stop by and say hello to Maddie and Marianne and the rest of the staff at the 2 shops. You'll enjoy the visit. But as I say, I looked at the rest of the card, and this was kind of the most likely contender for the dark horse definition, a little bit of value. There were other horses that were kind of flirting and maybe had a little more that I could hang my hat on until, as I say, I started to look at this one more and more. And kind of feel like I'm in a good spot now. Stick Up Without a Gun, Ken McPeak trainee. Ken McPeak, you know, I've had him sit in here, and he says, I like to give the horses a start. But, you know, you can look at the stats there and see first-time starters, he does okay. And I have that parsed out even a little more in a second. But McKinsey, we all know, good sire of debut runners, so I like that on top. The Dam has produced a couple of other siblings. One of them was My Magic Wand. That one ran 5th in debut, then won the next 3 starts, then 6th, then won again. So won 4 of the first 6. So certainly like those numbers. Ken McPeak in the past year, just going back a year, first-time starters, excuse me, debuting at a mile or over, 14% for an ROI of 233. So 7 for 49, I think that is legit. I think the horse has some breeding to go with, so a little nature and nurture at work here. Dark horse play of the day today, race number 1. Horse number 4, Stick Up Without a Gun. Second slot, we will take a look at number 3 with the entries in here. We will leave from the inside post position, but I do think the debut effort was okay for the Horacio de Paz runner. Kendrick Carmouche on board. I think we can build on that. And then Newland in the third spot, George Weaver, trainee. George continues to have a very good meet. Munnings, the sire, to take a look at with debut runners. This is the first full to race from the Dam. Couldn't find out much there, but I do think it could be interesting in the debut. I will note, I said a couple of entries, and Tim and Sam then leaves from the rail post position. I'm not sure how many times I've seen this. This has to be a complete coincidental oddity. 2 entries, and they wind up right next to each other in the
3, 4,
gate.
5, 6
yeah,
posts.
3, 4, yeah, which is kind of a wild coincidence, I thought. But I have it 4, 3, 6, and 5.
I'm 3, 4, 5, so much of what's going on in the program kind of in agreement. The one thing, you know, that, and I don't know that you get an honest answer from a trainer, but I talked about practice before. Now, this horse was 25-1 on debut, Tim and Sam. And regardless of what the trip was, going into the gate, were you thinking just practice at 5.5 to get around the track, and now you stretch out, you draw the inside? I'll take Tim and Sam on a flyer. Jack's World, Linda Rice's first-time starter. Got a look for me with Candy Ride and Spicetown as the grandsires, and then I'm with you with Stick Up Without a Gun. I will say that I want to find this horse, the one horse that the Code of Honor runner, the 7 honoree, to me could be sneaky. And sometimes when I say sneaky, I'm not talking about like winning, but that they run better than you anticipate. I was surprised to see 3-1 on the morning line off that debut, but
They were
so
shopping for turf at Shug, and
yeah, that was that you know, once again, we don't know, but you might be assuming that they stayed in not really out of preference, but out of preference getting the race back, and they get it today.
Yeah, and there's some breeding there. I looked at that one. I didn't pull the trigger, but that one scares me as well. Second race today, conditional claimers, non-winners 2 lifetime $50,000 tags. They will go out of the mile chute.
Well, I had no good ideas yesterday. This is not this is 265 for me. Dreamlight. If my math is right, this is first time in for a tag for Todd Pletcher. Maybe they're just trying to dump, but even if they're trying to dump, I was thinking, you know, has run numbers good enough to really walk over this field. Ruler of the Universe, second time off a 15th-month layup. The comeback race was like shoulder to shoulder with career best. It just doesn't matter anymore, these layoffs. And then the Boondocker, first time in for a tag for Chad, comes in from Monmouth Park off 2-turn races, 265.
5, 6, 2, and 4 for me. Yeah, I think this race is kind of a skull buster. You have a lot of them that are class moving that, you know, make you scratch your chin a little bit. I wound up on Boondocker, only 3 starts, and I thought they showed some promise. Now, the maiden breaker down in Monmouth I thought was pretty good. The follow-up to that I thought was pretty good. And now they show up for a $50,000 tag after having paid much more. But I thought the Sean Flanagan horse for Chad Brown with some early speed and third start of the season could be primed for a good effort. Ruler of the Universe in the second spot. As you say, the comebacker was okay. The number stacks up nicely with these, and if we move forward a little bit, could be dangerous. And then I'll use Dreamlike in the third spot. You look at the July start at Saratoga last year, says the horse may appreciate the surface, albeit then you look at the June start this year and not so much. But again, now they move in for the tag. Maybe we'll get closer to what we saw up here last year. In the second, 5, 6, 2, and 4.
On to the third race. We're going out of the Wilson Chute, a mile, and maiden claimers in for 20. And I think I because of the nature of the setup, boy, there's a lot going on. The outside horses have it tough based on geometry. The inside horses, the 1 and 2 posts, they can really be squeezed into the rail by the 3 and the 4 running a straight line. So you can't penalize them. I ran a straight line. How am I the bad guy? Yeah. It's like the old days with the old starting gate at Churchill Downs. The number 1 horse couldn't run a straight line. So they can now with the new one, but these mile races, there's a lot going on.
There's often
a
look of an accordion.
Yes.
Yes. 5, 1, 3, and 6. Here's trouble on top. Linda Rice trainee, second off the claim. Claimed the horse at Keeneland in April, then came back in a maiden special condition. Now moves in for a $20,000 tag. I would have to think this will be a beneficial move because the race at Keeneland was, I thought, pretty good for 30. So they picked the horse up there. Went back into maiden special company, didn't fare so well. Now back in for a maiden tag where I'd expect an improved effort. Sheer Will also getting a little class relief. Also for Linda Rice. So I think a similar situation here. They put the blinkers on. We'll see if that helps things as well. And then Baby Sasakaya. I am taking a shot there.
You're apparently not an Italian red wine fan.
Go for it.
You got it, but you sounded like a new foal trying to find. Sasakaya is I don't know what Baby Sasakaya is, but Sasakaya is a nice Italian red wine.
I'll take your.
I have it on top. So
I do not drink wine. So
okay,
that would not be in my wheelhouse.
All right.
The race 2 back was pretty good. It was also in April of 24. Then comes back in June of 25 and puts in an okay effort as well. And now another little bit of a layoff for Saffie Joseph. Come back at a reduced rate, but from 25 to 20, that's not a notable move to me necessarily. But I do think there's enough there to look at to think in the second start of the season we'll get an okay effort. In the third, 5, 1, 3, and 6.
And I have Baby Sasakaya on top. And this game can be played so many different ways. And I discard layoffs completely now. But I'm not taking you at 3 to 5. I'm moving on from that. And Saffie Joseph has very, very good numbers from Seth, I have to say, as large a sample size that I can recall, 390 runners in the 61-day to 180 days. That's a lot of data, folks. So I have Baby Sasakaya has to markedly improve off of the return to the races. Here's your trouble, my second pick, Seth's top pick. Once again, I mean, you should know from me that I really segment out good, bad, or indifferent, slop and muddy races. So you look at the clear, fast dirt surfaces, absolutely fits here. And that's, I think, we're going to get today. Then contract law, they take the blinkers off. Third start since April, 3-5-8.
I will say, as you were talking about the stats, I looked down, and I don't know whether I've ever seen a situation like this with an April 24 start and then a June start where I've ever noticed this, at least. The stats underneath the Saffie Joseph runner, they do have a stat for 2 sprints to a route, which is an angle I really, really like. But I don't really think you can put that stat down when one of the starts was in April of last year and the other one was in June of this year. I don't quite know if the 2 sprints to a route angle is quite the same thing. I may have to parse that out amongst the whoever is putting those stats.
Well, that is a fantastic point because I think it's a disingenuous stat, the one they're putting out. I think like the layoff lines, they should, they have to get a day's.
Yeah, because I like it when a horse comes back from a long
Right.
layoff, has 2 sprints and
Like
goes
2
to a
sprints
route.
to a route within two sprints within
to a
90
route.
days of each other, and then the route. That's all they do. They just got to add a timeline to the 2 sprints.
Yep.
We'll be right back.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 103-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 103 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Friday morning. Let's jump back in. Race number 4 this afternoon. State bred optional claimers, not more than 2 other than 5.5 on the grass.
You know, I had too many bagels this year, and I don't mean for breakfast. Kerry intrigued me, but all my intriguing thoughts, I know the track changed and they're off the turf, so I loved the card yesterday, and it went south before the rain came. 725 Kerry is a big price in here, but this is, for me, folks, these are the type of horses that I'm going to be drawn into, like the moth to the flame all the time, which is, good early speed, fatigue. Now, this horse ran on the Ides of March, laid off, I'll call it, and it has 2 starts. Coming in here, Joe Sharp has. I have to get a big price, but I think I have a chance in this. I thought the last race was okay, deep into the race. For second, Bustin' Bullet. They're going to add blinkers. I got speed on the inside to me at 6-1. Very dangerous with IRAD. And then Marco T. 7-2-5.
3, 2, 4, and 5 for me. I'm going to put Weekend Rags on top. Claimed the last 2 starts, so been popular at the claim box. But both of the starts were pretty good, and both of the starts were essentially at this level. So has done well at this level, in good form, moves into Linda Rice barn. She does well off the claim, but more importantly, she does well overall and continuing that at this meet. So I'll tilt in that direction. Bustin' Bullet in the second spot. Safi Joseph, Irad Ortiz runner, came up from Florida and tried this company last time right here at Saratoga with Irad on board. Ran 4th. Showed a little punch early before fading. I'm looking for that to be a benefit and maybe get back to some better numbers, because the horse overall the last few starts has been a little bit inconsistent with the numbers, but a better number puts this horse in the mix of things here. And I think we can do it with the try over the track last time. And Bellicose in the 3rd spot. Wesley Ward runner tries the turf for the first time. And I just find that scenario interesting. Coming off a win here on Belmont Stakes weekend on the dirt, I think the horse could be a player if it takes to the turf, and I'll trust Wesley Ward. I thought that start 2 back on the 1st of August said the horse will be fine here, second best of 10, so we'll go in that direction as a player. 4th race, 3, 2, 4, and 5.
On to the 5th, 3-year-olds and up. Maidens in for 100,000, going a mile on the turf.
1, 3, 7, and 9. I will go with number 1, Vintage Vino, who is positioned outside because part of an entry, so has the 8 post position. Linda Rice runner goes maiden special to maiden claiming. Now it's $100,000 tag. I don't think that's as potent a move as some of the maiden specials to maiden claiming moves, But more importantly for me, it's the third start back this season off a couple of good numbers, improving numbers in the first two starts. Finishing position not as good in that second start of the season, but the number did improve incrementally. So I like that scenario. I think the horse will be a player, given that. Second spot fully booked, goes out for Chad Brown and Klarovich. This one's interesting to me in that I always like the Chad Klarovich runners to be win early types and hasn't lived up to it with a couple of dirt races. Now moves over to the turf, in for the tag, but was in for the tag last time on the dirt. It seems to me after the first couple of starts that they're just kind of shopping around. So I like the connections. I like them with win early horses. But with this scenario, I couldn't use that one any further up. The nominees are, I love this, the nominees are By Oscar Performance, cleverly named. I'll give him that already. It's another Chad Brown runner coming off I thought a pretty good try down at Tampa. That was back in March, so there's a little bit of a layoff. But given what we saw down at Tampa, I think this horse will be very dangerous this afternoon in the fifth. 1, 3, 7, and 9.
And what they stopped saying the winner is about 30 years ago.
Oh yeah, what do they do now? It's
The
kind
Oscar
of politically
goes to.
correct. Yeah. You don't want there. You all five of you are very
have
good.
one, yes.
Yeah.
I do think without any scratches, I think Vintage Vino moves in one spot, the 7 hole, not the 8, which I think at mile races is important. If you can move in one more.
Oh, you're right. At
That's
7, the one was already out. Yeah, I looked at the 7.
That's
Yeah, you're right.
716 for me. I have the nominees are now, folks. Just you don't have to go watch the replay. It was a 10-horse field. You're 7 wide at the top of the stretch. Some might say that takes some work. So let's hope we get a cleaner, better trip that often is rewarded going a mile on the inner with the nominees are making the second career start. For a second, I have the aforementioned Vintage Vino, who's dropping in for a tag. Now at 100,000, technically is a tag. I try and follow, not with a fine-tooth comb, but how many are actually picked off at this level. And then for third, suspiciously named 716.
All right, we'll take another break. And when we come back, again, we'll continue our look at the Friday card. Stay tuned. It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
You like free money? Well, Capital OTB gives its players plenty of opportunities to cash in. At Capital OTB, there are so many ways for horse players to receive bonus dollars by simply participating in promotions such as our bankrolls, bounty bets, online handicapping contests, and much, much more. Plus, with Capital OTB's Player Rewards program, you get actual cash back. So what are you waiting for? Log on today at CapitalOTB.com or CapitalOTBBet.com and claim your free money.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back. All right, let's jump back in with race number 6. We're looking at New York bred maiden specials going 3/4 of a mile.
I'm suspecting that the 1 Valentine Crusader, they're going to go hog wild for. I think 5-2 looks appetizing now compared to where we might be at approximately 406. And to me that's important. So I'm 218, and yes, I'm very deficient in the Beyer speed figures on Sunday, boy. But what happens if that was just a good run at practice at 20-1 for Jim Ryerson? who already has an upset win at the meet. 4-2nd, Valentine Crusader, who, is, I think, going to be a strong favorite in here. Just got beat at 9-5 on debut for John Ortiz. And then for third, Arctic Beats for Mike Maker, a Yalpon on the outside, 2-1-8.
I didn't know what to do Sunday, boy. And I'll tell you, if you get the 8-1, because 3 of the 4 siblings for this one won the career debut. And that was an okay debut for this one. So I think Sunday Boy's interesting, and I went back and forth where to put it in the mix, but I wound up 1-4-8-5. Number 1 is Valentine Crusader. As you say, the debut effort is going to attract a lot of attention, but also took some action. So lived up to the action, and when you get action up here in a 2-year-old race, that usually signifies, there's a little whisper maybe, or folks can appreciate some of the workouts, whatever. As I say, he lived up to it, just missing in the debut. So I'll go there. Pride of the Union in the second spot. Sibling Tail of the Union won the career debut. Another sibling just missed. Another sibling won in the second start. So I thought there was win early there. There's some pretty good looking works. So I'll put Pride of the Union in the second slot. Arctic Beast was out for Mike Maker. I couldn't ignore it with Yalpon on top. Again, has turned into a nice sire, win early tights. Diamond Life is maybe a little bit interesting with the sibling who won in the second career start. Mission Critical, a homebred for Marshall Graham. Marshall's nice New York bred runner, Critical Value, started her career running second and a couple of wins. So this one could be an interesting runner for Maya. Jeremiah Engelhardt. Fun race. I have it 1-4-8-5.
7th race, Optional Claimer, starter allowance, racing 6.5.
4-1-3-9. I put Golden Irish on top. Tommy Amos runner. Had a little bit of a layoff from early April at Keeneland until July 20th. The comebacker in a similar event, near miss effort with Dylan on board, Dylan back on board. And again, with that one under the belt earlier in the meet, I think is set up well for a good effort this afternoon. So we'll put the 4 on top. Feasible, Jenna Antonucci runner. And Jenna's having a nice meet herself. And this one comes off a little bit of a third place finish that was okay last time. Just behind my top pick. The race before that was okay as well. So overall, in a limited number of starts, seems to be doing well and moving in the right direction. Volatile Market in the third spot. Third start of the season for the Steve Asmussen runner. And I think with a couple of, okay efforts under the belt, the seasonal debut was a maiden breaker. The follow-up wasn't as good. But again, it was in a little bit saltier company condition-wise like this race. But sometimes that will take that start or two to figure out the next level. So with that one under the belt, Volatile Market is a player as well. 4-1-3-9.
I'm 7-3-1. So at the bottom of this ticket, we agree. Hey Cookie's moving into the Chad Summers barn has had, I look at this set. This is a classic example of Hey Cookie. I look at Hey Cookie has had no layoff lines. Debuted on Valentine's Day, moves into the Chad Summers barn, had a nice workout on August 6th. Hasn't been seen in the afternoon since late June. I think is a major player in here. Will come from off the pace. I think that could be beneficial from the outside. For second, Volatile Market. Second time versus winners. I'm throwing out the first time because that was on a sloppy sealed racetrack. And for third, from the rail, one of my favorite words in the world, Feasible. Jenna Antonucci sends out this runner who, since breaking the maiden, has hit the board in 2 of 3, 7-3-1.
Feasible is one of your favorite words?
Well, not because of what it.
I'm assuming because of what it means, but it's still kind of
because I'm almost all things are feasible. I just am such a believer that when there's a will, there's a way.
All right. 8th race today, conditional claimers, a mile on the grass.
Positive guy. 7-9-4 here.
Well, that is positive if you think all things are feasible.
There's a very small list. When a 5'9" kid could end up dunking a basketball, that's when I knew it was. Starlight Dancer is my top pick. This is, sometimes you break the maiden for a tag, and they try other things, which I'm fine with. But the 2L, which really has only been around NYRA for there were no restricted claiming races up until probably I was like nearly 40 years old. So you break the maiden for a tag, you might try something, but Michelle Nevin tried this condition and almost beat winners for the first time. Starlight Dancer comes back here. I think Fitz shortens up, stays on the inner for second. Silent Melody, I'm on the outside going a mile. That is serious work to get done, but it's the third race of the year, both at this level. And then River Tay going out for Bruce Brown. Third race of the year, stayed in and off the turfer, but gets back to the turf, etc. I like to talk about trainers. I like, they should put like a little signal, like, do I have a big chance, or am I don't know what they call it, but protecting my place in line, I'll call it.
I will say the N2L, N3L, one of the very positive additions
Absolutely
to the condition books around the country.
Only,
same thing with the restricted maiden specials.
But by far the best one ever to come, and I'm going to quantify it because it is subjective, was the New York bred maiden claimers, because we stopped having 0 for 65, 0 for 81 horses, and that's good for everybody.
5769, output will not be swayed on top. Brad Cox trainee with Irad Ortiz on board. Pops in for a tag. I think the class move is going to move this horse forward. Second is Starlight Dancer. I agree. Coming off the last couple of starts, the maiden breaker and the close-up try when getting into this level, put that one as absolutely very dangerous. And Mark Hennig has Proud Mary at 12-1, who tried this condition last time, ran eighth, but okay. But more importantly, the number went backwards a little bit. If we bounce back to what are more consistently this one's numbers, given that this one was third with a little bit of a light number last time, I think Proud Mary could be a player at a generous price if the morning line holds up. Eighth race, 5, 7, 6, and 9.
We'll take our final break. When we come back, the latest Daily Double.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 103-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 103 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 9th race today, the Smart and Fancy, a 5.5 furlong turf dash.
I'm going to go master of the obvious here. 6, 4, 5, and 8. Mike Trombetta's future is now. It's just hard to knock this horse off the last few races, including the last race, the Caress, right up here earlier in the meet. Just a really nice win for the late Larry Johnson, who Mike Trombetta was asked about in the winner's circle and got emotional after that victory last time, as were other people involved with the horse that day. But I think given what we've seen in the last few starts, including a close-up second of Pipsy, 2 back on Belmont Stakes weekend, the horse just seems to be in good form and I think has a little bit of an edge on this group. L&J, cleverly named from L&J Foxwoods, but spelled differently as like a name. Brad Cox trainee, lately raced off since October at 24, as you have noted. Particularly with guys like Brad Cox, you can't be too concerned about the layoff, particularly when you look at that July 30th workout, best of 33, which seems to indicate L&J will be on her toes. And then Twirling Queen in the 3rd spot, finished 4th behind Top Pick in the Caress, but was less than a length out of it after having taking them most of the way around off of that race. I think she may be very dangerous again today in the Smart and Fancy 6, 4, 5, and 8.
And that's what the race goes through. Future is now the 6. And I think Twirling Queen, I'm hoping that the caress gives us a stronger foundation. If that was supposed to be the moment you get it done at 16-1 and we regress, I understand that. But I think it's reasonable with the Future is now in here that I'm going to get in the neighborhood of 6-1 with Luis Saez for second. Future is now, loves Saratoga, wins the caress. Great notion, the stallion. I think that was my exacta under. Valid Video and Joe Bravo beating Ghost Zapper. And then Sunday Girl, 5, 6, 8 in this year's Smart and Fancy.
And we will wrap it up today a little after 6:15. Race number 10 at Saratoga. State bred maiden specials out of the 1 mile chute.
249 for me. Dormello making the career debut. Seth has it also on top. The racing form, before you start your career in the afternoon, they'll list up to 12 workouts. Well, only 10 are listed. So right out of the bat, this horse, tipped the hand, fastest of 20. Then another good workout going back. That's my angle. I'm using that for my Del Mar play of the day for tomorrow. I just like these workouts 2, 3, 4 back, and the most recent ones being just kind of a maintenance type work. For a second, Undisputed. Jen Antonucci sends out this runner for the 5th career start, shortens up from 9, and for 3rd, Kaz Oil Changer. Back-to-back runner-up positions going 9, shortens up 249 in the 6:18 finale.
I do have the 2 on top. But what's your confidence level? I wouldn't say I'm super confident.
No, I mean, you have to be in the 4 to 6-1 range. I mean, this is not a horse that they bet this horse down to 5-2. I'm out.
It's Bill Mott. There are some local connections involved. I always like to root for those, but it's Bill Mott. But I also looked up the siblings. Siblings were win early, and that kind of tilted me. That Medaglia d'Oro on top. So some siblings with win early punch, a little bit of breeding there, and Bill Mott. I'll go with Dormello, but as I say, it's tepid. Solo Jim in the 2nd spot. The Mark Hennig trainee showed nice improvement in the 2nd start. I think could be interesting stretching out to this mile trip, and Undisputed for Jenna Antonucci on the numbers, maybe the one that will attract attention this afternoon. Linda Rice's Chris's song in the 3rd career start off some improvement is also dangerous to me. I have it 2, 8, 4, and 1.
Yeah, just a quick handicap angle to show my contrariness. If Dormello is bet, and people like to say live on the board, I'm almost out because I still have the questions about it. I don't want a lesser price if you think that's a positive indicating, something, whispers or whatever. I still have my doubts, and I'm the type that, if they get bet down to like 6-5, words out, and I miss the phone call, etc. But 5-2, that's just the nature of me. I'm like, listen, I've seen far more lose with the whispers out than win.
Well, up here, because there might be whispers on 5 horses.
Yes, that's the other thing. Of course, I'm at 75% for the phone calls, 3 for 4. So that's all I got. I don't get phone calls anymore.
Yeah,
Old man.
I don't know if I ever got a phone call. Every once in a while on the front side, though, I will get the whisper, heading into the race.
As long as you get it before,
exactly.
the bell rings,
Yep.
you're all set. It cannot be more glorious than it is this morning, ladies and gentlemen. You have some free time on a Friday. It's Alabama Eve. Come on up. It's hard to imagine you'd be disappointed. He stays, I go. Have a great Friday.
This has been the Handicappers Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.